Hello, class. Rob McComas here to speak about Jonathan Edwards' relevance today and his legacy. As McDermott mentioned in Understanding Jonathan Edwards, An Introduction to America's Theologian, makes the point that Edwards was neither fundamentalist nor liberal, and that the heart of his teaching was that God is beauty and God is love. Now, a lot of people viewed Edwards as a preacher of wrath. Of course, the reason behind that is the sinners in the hands of an angry God sermon. And that was all that people knew. That was all that was being taught in history classes and literature classes. And because of that, Kenneth McKeema would write, well, he would say that one writer in 1918 stated that Edwards believed in the worst God, preached the worst sermons, and had the worst religion of any human being who ever lived on this continent. Pretty strong words, but also very far from the truth. McDermott would go on to say that Edwards was not a fundamentalist in the sense that he did not preach a God whose essential religion to humanity was a list of do's and don'ts. Nor was he liberal, whose religion simply baptized elite culture. Instead, as the essays in this book have suggested, his God challenges early third millennium Western culture in all sorts of ways, not least of which is its assumption that we are free to define truth as we like. On the issue of conversion and spiritual formation, comes a vision of beauty in God in Jesus Christ, which results in a true transformation of the heart. It affects every part of us, our feelings, our beliefs, our choices. In other words, the heart is eternally changed and converted. You have a new vision of things. And I want to mention someone else in closing. I would like to mention another great theologian of his time, Charles Finney. In An Heir or Rebel, Alan Guzelow would say that one writer would write about Finney. He had something in his theology to offend almost everyone. Now, the reason I bring up Finney is this. Finney believed that sin was a choice, and you're not born into sin, and that a human could be perfected. Now, that being said, Edwards believed completely the opposite of that. It wasn't perfection that Edwards' idea of theology. His idea of theology was transformation of the heart, and that is really what affects a lot of churches today. That could be his legacy. The way that the conversion of Christians, if you will. And that's why I hold him in such high regard, more than any other theologian in America, especially early America. And his legacy will live on through his sermons and his teaching, showing what kind of man he truly was. Thanks for listening.